This is the How to Quit Working Show. Jeff Steinman believes entrepreneurship is the only true path to freedom. That's why he created the How to Quit Working Show, where you'll hear stories, insights, and inspiration from lifestyle fanatics who left their soul-sucking 9-to-5 job forever. Now, here's your host, author, entrepreneur, and ultimate lifestyle fanatic, Jeff Steinman.
Hello and welcome to the How to Quit Working Show. We've got a great show today. We're actually going to be talking to a friend of mine by the name of April Trupiano, who is going to talk about 3 massive mistakes that million-dollar agents and advisors never make. This is some really advanced business training, and I think that it's really important to get your head around these concepts. And one of the things that I really love about April is that she is passionate about business, not only business, but business as it relates to family and as it enables you to spend more time with your family and use it really as a tool in your family. So I'm really excited to bring this to you, and we're going to be talking to April in just a moment. But before we do that, I just want to remind you about the How to Quit Working Circle. Now, if you're looking for a place to go that has support, encouragement, training, and resources, and occasional special offers from me, then the How to Quit Working Circle is for you. It is all free, and you can get it over at howtoquitworking.com/circle. I look forward to seeing you over in the circle, and I look forward to hearing what you think about this great interview with April. Before we bring April on, I just want to tell you a little bit about her. April teaches entrepreneurs how to be the CEO of their business so they can spend more time with their family, play more, and still make money at the office. She's created a program called the 6-Figure Business Boot Camp, the 7-Figure Business Formula, and she's the founder of the L5 Institute for Leadership Development. She develops million-dollar producers with her programs for insurance agents and advisors, such as the Million-Dollar Inner Circle and the Million-Dollar Advisor Inner Circle, the Authority Agent and the Authority Advisor. She's got so many great programs. She lives in the U.S. and splits her time between the U.S. and Italy. And by the way, when she's in the U.S., she is in my hometown of St. Louis, which I love. She delivers her training and coaching programs wherever she's at. And one of the things that, as I said, I love about April is her devotion to family and how business can be an enabler of that. I want to welcome April to the How to Quit Working Show. April, welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. I am so excited. This is my first visit with you guys.
Absolutely, and the first time that we have ever done anything like this together, so I'm really excited about it. And this is a little bit different than what we normally do in the How to Quit Working Show. I'm just going to let you take it away and just talk a little bit about these massive mistakes that agents and advisors never make.
Excellent. Well, thank you for giving me the floor. Very generous. I really do thank you. I know what it's like to just completely hand over your show, so I do appreciate
fully trust you.
You must. You and I talked about some of the things that you've done with your clients and the ways that you not only help them build business and help them quit working in jobs they don't love and give up businesses they don't like to start businesses and run profitable businesses that they do love, that I really do consider it a privilege to share time with you and all the people that you're reaching across the nation via the podcast, because I really do have, just huge admiration for you and for the work that you do. So I am excited. Now,
very much.
For the listeners, I want y'all to know, because I'm clear that you might be wondering, why the heck would Jeff bring on a woman who works specifically with insurance agents and financial advisors? It's even in the title of a lot of my work. I want to make the connection for you, which is actually multifold. So for one thing, all of my financial advisors and insurance agents are business owners, just the same as you, just the same as all of the listeners on the podcast. So they're in charge of how much they earn based on how much they produce or don't produce. They're often, they have an umbrella company where that umbrella company might stamp their logo on things. But I like to call those my clients angel investors or VC investors, venture capitalist investors. Because beyond telling them how much they need to produce and what all they have to do to be in legal compliance, no negotiation there. My clients are pretty much on their own to figure out how to become the CEO of their businesses. And that's the training that they don't get from that umbrella company, from that investor company. And that's often the training that I find that my business owner clients don't get as well. Another thing to keep in mind is that way before I specialized in the financial services industry, because I've been doing this for many a year, I worked for a long time with business owners, mostly service-based businesses and sometimes product-based, mostly service-based. And just like my agents and advisors who want to make it to the MDRT, as we call it, that's the acronym for the $1 Million Roundtable, I'm certain that you want to hit your $1 million mark in your business too. And if I could see you standing in front of me, I think you all would be raising your hand. I know that's something that my former business owner clients wanted as well. So hopefully that makes the connection for you. And just keep in mind that whatever I'm giving you, as it has applied to my agent and advisor clients, it certainly applies to your business as well. I'm speaking to you all as business owners. Now, before I get started, I want you to know that I am about getting actions that you can take away in front of you. So I leave out a lot of the fluff. If it's okay with you, I want to suggest that you get out your notepad, get a pen, and let's dive in, because I do want you to take some notes. Now, one housekeeping item. Feel free to tweet anything that you deem tweet worthy. I just ask that you use my hashtag, and that's April Trupiano. That's APRILLE TRUPIANO. Now, this again, between Jeff and me and the How to Quit Working show and AT International, which is a training company, a training and development company for financial services. Again, it seems like an unlikely connection, but I think you'll see from everything I just said that we're all on the same page and we're all shooting for the same thing, which is that business that gives us freedom and acknowledgement and satisfaction. So I want to give you a little bit. Jeff introduced me very beautifully, but I always know that, for me, I'm always wondering, who the heck is that person standing up in the front of the room with the clicker and the microphone? So I want to give this to you in a nutshell. I don't want to seem less than humble, but I do want to let you know that you can trust me. As Jeff said, he fully trusts me, and I do take that to heart. But I've been an entrepreneur since I was 20. I have owned 9, 6, and 7-figure businesses, some of them from the ground up, some of them I came in the middle. In the financial services industry, when I was playing in that game, I was number 2 in my region, in my field. I am certified as a senior coach and senior trainer. Mostly, that doesn't really matter. I got to tell you, I don't want to diminish anybody else who's gone out there and done the training, and I certainly respect the training that I got. However, here's the deal. I learned from the best, and I learned the hard way from doing things that didn't work. So what I like to bring to my clients, and what I'm bringing you now, is a lot of things that really do work with your boots on the ground when you're in the field, in the trenches every day. You guys don't need platitudes. You don't need theories. You need how to right now. When I walk away, what can I do? So let me ask you a question. How many of you have same complaints month after month, quarter after quarter, year after year? Now, I'm talking about your business. And of course, when you own your business, that creeps into your lifestyle. I'm not saying that you complain about your families or friends or things like that. But certainly, before you go and say that's not you, I'm going to bet that there are a few complaints that roll around in your head, things that you say in that little voice in the back of your mind. And if you're saying, I don't have a little voice that talks in the back of my mind, that's the voice I'm talking about. So it's the voice that reminds you of your doubts and your challenges and your worries and your frustrations. It's the one that says things like, I just can't get my people to produce. Now, if you're somebody who has sales producers like my agents and advisors do, that's who I'm talking about. However, some of my people don't have producers yet. So like you, they may have a team who's not producing in their sales. However, they have to produce results in the business. And if you're somebody who is just thinking about getting your team started, whether you're in financial services or in a whole nother industry, this is definitely something that I hear a lot. Now, how about this one? I'm not working with the kinds of clients I enjoy working with. Come on. We all sometimes get caught up in the minutia. We get caught up in other stuff. And this is just in the back of our mind going, ugh, so tired of dealing with the problem people, or I'm tired of dealing with the people that don't really bring me the kind of returns I want, or don't give me the kind of work that I enjoy. We're taking clients on because we need the cash, because we need the revenue, because no one else knows how to handle them, because they don't trust anybody else. So these are the complaints that go through our head. And things like, I'm not doing the things I love to do in my business. Forget the clients. How about every day I'm stuck firefighting? I'm stuck fixing things that shouldn't be on my plate to fix. I can't even get to the things that are my highest and best use that would bring in the most revenue, that, by the way, I love to do. Or how about, I don't have time to train these people. They should know this stuff already. I hear that one all the time. I can't squeeze one more thing in my day. Believe me, don't tell me to get a pen and a paper, because I can't put one more to-do thing in my day. Don't even give me a to-do list. Or I don't have a team I can trust to do the things the way I do them, the way I expect them to be done. So again, I'm going to ask you, just how often do you suppose that you hear yourself, whether out loud or in that little voice in your head, saying some of these things? Look, I work with agents and advisors, and again, people who are essentially business owners just like you, all over the world. And that doesn't make me special, but it does give me special insights. And it helps me understand what you want, what you really, really want deep down in your heart of hearts. You want to have it all, but you don't think you can. And I'm here to tell you, that's that little voice in the back of your mind again. So you might want to just learn how to flip that switch, or at least turn down the volume. Now, listen, as I said, I've been doing this for, 15 years. And doing what I do, working with companies that are in Italy, UK, Australia, the US, and I hear similar things over and over. And it occurred to me that there were those that were doing a really great job. And so I sat back and I asked myself, how is it that they're doing so well? And yet the ones that are coming to me, company owners and business owners that are coming to me that are sometimes not even ready for my coaching, are just really struggling. They're constantly trying to figure it out. And I started to pay attention to what it was that those who had $1 million business, which is again what it takes to get to that $1 million round table, and what it might take to fulfill your own goals too. What were they doing that others weren't doing? What tools were my clients using to their highest and best outcomes that those who come to me for help didn't have, didn't know, or didn't bother using? Now, there are many different nuances to it, but it boiled down to these 3 massive mistakes. And yes, I do mean massive. You're going to think I'm exaggerating. However, I'm telling you, the impact that these mistakes have on your business is indeed tremendous. So quite frankly, when you get it down to it, though, they're simple things that my $1 Million Roundtable bound agents and advisors are doing and have been doing that others weren't. And even others that I studied in the field. I've done a lot of field research to see what are the success habits, what are the character traits that have these people win when others are working their tails off. I don't question. I absolutely am certain that you're working your tail off, doing everything you can. That's when I knew that I had to share these. So, again, get ready. While I can't give you all of those nuances in the time that we have here, Jeff will definitely kick me off the show. What I can do is share those 3 massive mistakes so you can avoid them. I'm going to give you the 30,000-foot view. And if you make some of the simple changes that I'll share with you, then you will indeed avoid them. So let's get ready. Here is, I'm going to start with number 1, because what I want for you, as you can see at the bottom there, is I want you to be able to live fully and finally have it all. When you have a business that is thriving, that sustains the lifestyle that you enjoy for you, for your family, for your friends, for the people that you care about, doing the things that you love to do, that's when you have it all. And you get to say what that is. So let's start with number 1. Number 1, and this is a big one, no clear plan of execution. You guys, I hear this from people that have been in business for 15, 20, 25 years. Look, without a plan, all you have are really great ideas. I see this over and over and over and over, and I'm sure that Jeff has likely addressed this with you guys, and it pains me to watch. 95% of all business owners in the U.S., and that is those who don't make it to their intended goals, are using what I call the HAP method. Now, you might be asking yourself, what the heck is that? Well, the HAP method is what I call the hope and pray. You hope and pray, it all works out. It's either wishing and waiting and hoping and praying. Like I hope those clients sign docs so we can count on it for this month's production. I hope I can cover this month's payroll taxes. Oh my goodness, my gracious, I'm praying that the checks come in before the bills have to go out. I am hoping these people work out on my team. I'm praying they don't mess it up if I send them out there. That hoping and praying, that is no way to build a business. And as I mentioned, I don't ever like to just hand out the platitudes and good ideas without a little how-to. So I'm going to give you my quick 1, 2, 3 punch that'll set you in the right direction, and you can put these things into practice immediately. Here you go, the 1, 2, 3 punch. First of all, create that action plan. Listen, I know that seems simple, and I know that might seem like I'm speaking first grader language to a person who's been doing this for way more than first grader years. However, again, I find that people fly by the seat of their pants. I think if Jeff was here to talk with me live during this conversation, I know he's back there listening, and he's probably shaking his head, because one of the things that Jeff and I have in common is we spend time on this. We spend time on this quarterly, and we spend time on this annually. And without that plan, all you get is a hope and pray. All you get is, I hope this stuff works out. You have good intentions, you have good ideas, but nothing happens. So inside of the action plan, step number 2 is, this is something I see that people leave out all the time. You have to have your milestones and checkpoints. Look, without a systematized action plan, and I'm talking simple here, 1 page. I teach my people the 1-page business plan. You have to have a strategic plan or a business plan that is, again, simple to use, has to include these action steps along with milestones and checkpoints. You have to have the tasks to complete. You have to have course correction action steps if things get off target. These are the things that I teach my clients to do, because you don't really notice that you're off track until you're so off that you can't make up for it. Like 2 weeks before the quarter ends, or 6 months before you have to make a really big financial business decision. And you look back and go, gosh, I've been so busy all year. The last 6 months have been so busy and overwhelming. How the heck are we not on target? So before it gets to that point, you want to have your milestones built into your action plan. You want to have checkpoints that say, hey, if this isn't on target, then we better back up and course correct. And we need these resources to do it. Now, again, you may not be ready for this just this moment. However, having this method of thinking, having this philosophy, knowing this is what it takes, is going to put you 100 steps, not 10, not 5, literally 100 steps in front of most business owners. Now, the last thing is that you want to incorporate accountability. You absolutely must incorporate accountability for your team and for yourself. Now, this means that you have to pay attention to what's working and what's not working. You got to tell the truth about whether you've been actively engaged in bringing in revenue, in serving your clients, in managing your team, and giving everybody what they need, in building the business, or whether you've been doing busy work, like handling those fires all the time. Because, by the way, you don't have an action plan in place, and you don't have some of these other things I'm going to show you in a little bit. Or you're out there doing things like networking. And if you could see me, yes, I'm using air quotes, because most people do not network truly. Most people, I built a whole course around networking and how to do it the right way and what can go wrong. So I don't want to digress there, but That's the kind of busy work we can get into. We can get into our email inboxes and stay there for hours in a day, constantly jumping around and giving people what they need, but never doing what we need to get done. If you are willing to put your butt on the line, put your feet to the fire, and most of all, allow someone else to hold your feet to the fire. And this is where someone like Jeff comes in play. Having someone like Jeff, or a mentor, someone who will hold your feet to the fire and not let you off the hook just because you don't feel like it, or just because you're too busy, or just because it's not what you want to be doing today. You have to be honest with yourself about this, and you got to be willing to do something about it before it drives you out of business. Because without these things, I promise you, you will end up out of business. I've seen it happen, and it's sad. Now, let's take a quick look here. I want to show you what can happen when you actually put these things in place. This simple system here, the action plan with actionable tasks, not just a business plan. A business plan is theoretical. I say action plan specifically, intentionally, because it's not about ideas here. It's about what does it take to make those ideas come to life. So I had a client who, over 12 years in the business and doing way too much on her own. Business owner, insurance agent, very good at what she does, really great with her staff, her team. However, doing too much on her own, overworked and underpaid. She was taking home less than her employees when we really got down to it. She didn't really want to see that one, and she certainly didn't see it coming. But that was a big aha. She had no real vacation in sight, nor had she had one in 12 years. Now, by putting these things in action, this client of mine was able to add $100,000 plus. It was somewhere around 120, 128, and that's net increase in 8 months. Also, team was producing more than ever before, even when she wasn't there. Hello? No more dragging the train. No more worrying about whether or not they're going to do it the right way, or whether you can trust them to do it as well as you, or whether or not they'll do it if you're not standing over their shoulder, or calling them into your office, or getting them on the phone, or having them on a virtual call. They produced on their own, even when she was out, whether it was with the flu, or this last result I love the most. She went on a 12-day cruise with her hubby throughout the Mediterranean, and unexpectedly could not get in touch with the team, and came back to find out that they had produced more than they had the year before when she was there. The thing I like the most, though, and Jeff alluded to this, and I mentioned it a little bit, is that the thing that I love most is the day that she told me that she was dressed a little bit less casual, a little more casual than normal. I work with most of my clients virtually because they're not in the St. Louis area. They're not in my local area. And she was explaining to me, she said, if you could see me today, you wouldn't believe it. She said, because I'm leaving early. I've now decided that on Thursdays, this always just moves me. She said, on Thursdays, I'm going to be grandma. She had her first grandchild ever. And she decided that on Thursday, she was going to take a half day from now on and spend time raising that baby. And that was something that was never going to happen. She hadn't even had a vacation, much less considered taking a half a day off a week. So, those get me more than anything. All right, let's get to mistake number 2. Again, this one will kill you. No duplicatable systems. Listen, without duplicatable systems, you are starting over in your business every time, all the time. Starting over from scratch. Now, you might not think you are, but I promise you, the minute you have a hiccup, the minute something doesn't look the way you thought it would, the minute something doesn't turn around as fast as you thought it would, or come back to you the way you expected it, bam, you're recreating because you're in reaction mode, because you have not been the one pushing the train, getting the train to move with the slightest touch. Instead, you've been dragging it. And then at some point, it comes up and bam, hits you in the backside. I'm trying to be ladylike, so it's in the backside. And that's when you have these, oh my gosh moments. How do I do this? What do I do now? I can't believe this is happening again. And you constantly get unpredictable results. Most business owners, guys, just like my agents and advisors running their businesses, don't know if they want to spend so much time in the office managing. They say, I love being out with clients. I love being out networking. I love working with people. I don't want to be stuck behind the desk. I'm not a manager type. Well, let me just tell you something. If you are thinking that and you prefer working with your clients and you say, I don't have time to set up all this how-to stuff, and I don't have time to write it down, I've got it all in my head, I can tell you right now, you don't have a business, you have a job. Because the moment you step away, you are guaranteed that no one else can do it the way you do it. They cannot. They are not equipped to do it in the same manner, with the same verve, with the same expertise and excellence. You are setting yourself up for unpredictable results, even if you're the one running the show, because you have no backup plan. You're not driving this train. You're not the one saying, I know what'll typically happen when, because you're just waiting for it to come. And then when it comes, you react. That is a recipe for willy-nilly, wishy-washy, inconsistent, and unpredictable results for you and for your team. And I want to tell you, this is another keynote quality of the HAP method, by the way. If this is what you're doing, even if you said, hey, I'm not somebody that's working by that hoping and praying method, I promise you are, if these things ring true for you. Now, let's look at this. How do you combat that? If you want predictable results, if you want consistent results, you need at minimum these few steps. And again, I like to break it down into simple and actionable. First of all, you want to get real about where you are and how you got there. Now, this is the what works and doesn't work part that I talked about. I want to remind you, do not beat yourself up with the woulda, the coulda, the shoulda. I find that sometimes when I give people this work to do, to go back and look at your business over the past year, look at your business over the past 24 months, 36 months, what's been working, what were their breakdowns, where did things fall apart? And they start to feel just emotionally drained and this heavy weight about, gosh, if I would have just thought of that, or if I should have seen that coming, or, I could have done things differently if I had only taken a moment. Let that go. It is what it is. It's in the past. And I do believe that there's a quote that I even shared at one point. It's something along the lines of, there are no perfect paths, just taking the right steps. Something to that effect. So just go back and look. What was the right steps? What were the right steps? What was I doing right? And again, taking the emotion out and being objective, that can be the hardest part. Now, you want to then ditch the things that don't work by phasing them out as quickly as possible. I love this picture of the fish. I had a mentor who once said to me, when a fish gets sick, when a fish gets sick, you don't treat the fish, you treat the water. And that's why I love this image here of the fish. When things aren't working, all you've got to do is just get out of the environment that you're in. It's simple, but it's not always easy. That may mean taking steps you're uncomfortable taking, but you've got to phase them out as quickly as possible. If you continue to stay in that nasty, murky water called what's not working, then you will certainly end up with your business's demise. So I love this fish is just jumping ship, bada bam, just taking it on. But again, you can do it little by little. However, I recommend you do it as quickly as possible. Now, remember here again about those coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Remember to be objective. On to greener pastures once the truth sets you free. The truth of what's working and what's not. Now, the last one that I want you to think about is you want to replace what's not working, right? We're getting rid of that and do more of the things that do work. And before you start to feel like, oh my gosh, that list could be huge. This could take me forever. I may never be finished with that list. Let me just make it simple for you and use what I encourage my clients to use. Is called the Kaizen principle. I did not invent this. The Japanese did, as you can tell by the symbol on the screen. It's not standard English. The Japanese system of making the smallest changes that have the slightest impact. Now, what I've said to you is do it as quickly as possible, but it doesn't mean that you slit the bottom of the sack to where all the sand drains out and you have nothing left to start from in your business. Make the smallest changes possible that'll have the biggest impact. Now, again, this may seem like I'm oversimplifying, but I want to show you one example here. Let's say that you spend a lot of time networking for new business, and as you know, there's me with those air quotes because it's one of my pet peeves because people don't usually do it in a productive manner. However, let's suggest that you do. All right, so you go out and you network, and then I ask you, well, what's your follow-up system? Who does the follow-up? Is it you? Is it an assistant? Have you made an agreement with the person that you met that you would follow up or they would follow up? Is it a virtual follow-up via email? Is it a handwritten note? Are you going to pick up the phone? Did you schedule an appointment when you met them? What happens when they don't respond? How long do you wait for them to get back to you? What's the action step you want them to take once you're in contact? And what if they're not an ideal prospect in the end? Well, how do you know they're not an ideal prospect? What's the process to find out whether or not they're ideal? What happens if they are a good prospect, but they don't become a client? When do you get back in touch? How do you get back in touch? How do you stay top of mind during that interim? In the end, are the places you're networking really the best places for you to be in touch with prospects and referrals? Can you begin to see how answering these simple, pointed questions about one little activity in your business gets you to a duplicatable system? It gives you a step-by-step blueprint for how to handle every single networking event and encounter once you get back to the office. And listen to this. Best of all, you can teach anyone to follow this exact blueprint once you have it outlined and documented. And after you've even honed it more, you can not only ensure your own successful conversion rates with prospects, but you can ensure other people's conversion rates, those who follow the system, the documented, proven system. And they'll be successful at closing business post-networking too for you in your business. Ta-da! So that's a quick and easy example of something you can do. And you can do it in all areas of your business. Look at your accounts receivable, accounts payable. Look at your client intake. Look at your client welcome. Look at your, how do you terminate a client if that happens? Do you have anything in provisions that say I can terminate a client? What happens when they don't pay on time? There's so many areas that you can break down. Bam, 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 bada bang, bada bang. It doesn't have to be complicated. Remember, take it little by little, because I believe in streamlining, again, getting rid of what's not working and keeping what does in the shortest form that makes the biggest impact. So that Kaizen principle is going to be key here. One area at a time, and soon enough, you'll have an entire SOP that is a standard operating procedure for your business that anyone can follow so that you can have some time off out of your business and get back to doing the things that you love inside your business and outside your business. Now, again, I'm going to give you a quick example because you might say, well, that just really sounds like a lot of work and I'm not sure I'm really up for it. And I guarantee you, I don't even tell my clients this is what they're going to do when they work with me because no one would ever work with me. They would just say it's too much. But once we do this little by little, again, I had a client and over 26 years in his business doing way too much for way too little, not charging enough. Bleeding profits in all of the cracks that you can imagine, the cracks in the lack of systems. And with no systems, he had no vacation in years. His health was at serious risk. And I'm not at liberty to say more than that, but his health was really seriously, it was a problem. And, as the head of his family, that was really critical. And by putting these duplicatable systems in place, he was able to increase efficiency and increase fees. Bam! Really increased fees. Easy systems, you guys, nothing complicated. We were able to bring in $158,000 a month net each month after the first 10 months. Got a Hawaiian vacation with his spouse. She loved me for that one. And his health was under control. And what he said to me, again, what was so important to me was he said, I cannot thank you enough. My life does not look the same. And I am finally sleeping like a baby again. Got rid of all the stress. So that's what can happen if you're willing to take it on. All right, mistake number 3, no team processes. I'm going to remind you, without team processes, You not only set your business up to fail, but you set your team up to fail. And that is simply not fair. If you are someone who only has one person on your team, or you're just getting ready to hire your first person, or you have one person, you're getting ready to hire the next person, or you have 10 and you think you're going to need to go to 12, this is critical. You have to have these things in place. And I can't tell you how many times I walk in and people just don't have it. Businesses who underperform don't utilize their team effectively. They don't want to bother with training people, and that's not fair. It leaves your team feeling like they're always caught in a really bad game of Twister. Trying to make a move here and maneuver there and go over the around, cut corners here and make sure they're not upsetting anybody there and make sure they're doing what you want over here and making sure they're not messing up over there and making sure they're reinventing the wheel in a way that works over here. It's impossible. It's impossible. And the simple fact is, it shouldn't take you a lot of time to lay this out and manage your team. If it's taking you a lot of time to manage your team, you're doing it the wrong way. You're doing it without a system. Business owners who make this mistake, hint, hint, in case that's you, aren't making sure that they're knowing what their team's roles are, making sure that their team members are working at maximum effectiveness, making sure that their team members are working at maximum capacity and they're not over capacity, making sure that their team members are doing, that their team members fall into these three areas. Look, a team member needs to be not only capable, in which case I mean skilled, have to have certain skills. They have to be able, so logistically, bandwidth, energy level, foresight, thinking processes. Here's the one that most business owners neglect. They have to be willing. And they may say they're willing and they don't get stuff done because they're probably lying to you and themselves. They want to perform for you. They want to do the right things. They want to get the pay raise. They want to get the accolades. But they don't have that strong desire. You have to make sure that your team members are capable, able, and willing. Otherwise, your team culture is that same one of hope rather than clear expectations and accountability. Your team's not set up to win. And you're always worried about production, as I said, whether that's sales or even, admin production, client services, getting paperwork filed, taking care of your emails and your phone calls and everything else that needs to get done. Your team's just not set up to win. You're always, like I said, you're going to be worrying that they're not getting things done and producing when really you should be tracking other things that when managed properly will automatically ensure production. And even when you're on a Mediterranean cruise or out with the flu, as my client did. So let me ask you, what would your life be like with clarity, predictability, and accountability? Because that's what's possible for you. Here, I want you to take a note here. You want to start thinking about creating a documented onboarding process so your team understands your business vision, so that they understand it immediately from the start and feel like part of the team. And they are excited to get to work, to come to work every day, even if it's virtual, and to get to work on your business. And they take on your business like they have some ownership in it. You want to have structures like checklists and presentations and scripts and manuals so that they're 100% clear on how you want your company represented to prospect and clients. So if you have a sales team, this is really critical. If somebody in your virtual team is doing some of this, they need this too, especially those scripts. How do I send a welcome email? What should I put in there? How do I handle a client upset? What do I say to them? What's the chain of command? What's the process here for making sure that everyone with whom your team comes in contact, your brand is upheld, your values are clear to your prospects and clients and anyone else, and it's clear to the people working with you. You want crystal clear expectations and consequences for when expectations aren't met. If you don't have those, you need to create those. And you want to create a clear pathway for your team members to grow and advance with your company. If you don't have that, you are leaving them with nothing but the possibility of a job as well. And if you have someone who's interested in more than that, that's a blessing. You want to make sure that you're tapping into that. So I hope that you can see by avoiding this step by not creating team processes that you really leave your team out to dry. And they are trying to guess what and how you want things to go. I hope you can also see that it leaves your business brand in the hands of an untrained team, people who could ruin your brand with one misstep. I mean, really, one unhappy client is way more expensive than it takes to get that one happy client in. So I got to tell you, if you are willing to lay out and document some of these team processes, things like the onboarding, giving them tools and checklists and presentations and scripts, and making sure they have clear expectations and consequences so they know what's on the line if they don't meet those. If you're not doing that, then you're not getting any closer to that clarity and predictability and accountability. What would your life be like if those things were happening in your business? How would your life be outside the business? These, my friend, are the keys to the kingdom of success. And again, one quick example to drive that home, because again, that can feel overwhelming and feel like a big fat, I don't wanna. I had another client with 15 years in business, and she was completely burned out. She was not able to keep the pipelines filled. Now, she was a sales leader. She was in charge of her own business, but she was also in charge of leading 15 different offices across the Midwest. And she just couldn't get these people to predictably and consistently fill their pipelines. And so then her business was unpredictable and inconsistent. And she couldn't count on her team, even her internal team. And she was doing a lot of it herself. She was exhausted and seriously, completely stressed about the future of the business. And after working together, she had a 32% increase in all of her pipelines. That was the average of all 15 of her pipelines in 9 months of working together, hitting sales goals consistently in the most critical sales offices. Now, that is huge. Then it gave her a new team who she installed that understood exactly what was needed and jumped in right away and jumped in eagerly. Right? We got our new back-end team, and then we also did some work in the other people's offices as well. Simple processes, guys. Up top, you got no process. At the bottom, you've got simple processes. The last one that was so exciting was that she exceeded income expectations for herself by 12%. She was able to buy a new house, and she got noticed and was even given some increase by leadership. So here's the thing. It is possible to have it all. It's up to you to decide if you're willing to give up the HAP method and work on purpose. You got to work on your purpose. And you can start today with everything I've given you. But you've got to know. You can forget everything else I said today. You can forget everything. I won't even be offended if you don't remember any of it. But remember this, because it did hit me one day like a ton of bricks. You must be more interested in having it all. You've got to be interested. Ken Blanchard, I love Kenneth Blanchard. He puts it better than anything I could say to you. There's a difference between being interested and committed. When you're interested in doing something, you do it only when it's convenient. When you're committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results. So that being interested is the first step. You've got to follow it up with commitment. So you got to be interested, and then you've got to follow it up with commitment. So I'll just ask you, what will you do now? Now, I'm going to give you a couple of next steps. I did tell Jeff that I had a little something for you. Again, I asked you, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do next? I invite you to just connect with me on social media. There's my LinkedIn, my Twitter, my Facebook. I have to be honest, I'm on there, and you will find me. However, your best bet is to email me at april@aprilcipriano.com if you have any questions about anything I've shared with you during this podcast. And I also told Jeff that I was going to give you guys a gift. So I would love to offer you, if you're serious, if you are interested and you are committed, and you're willing to look at your business, really, a complimentary business breakthrough session. And all you've got to do is go to, it's HTTP, there's no www necessary, bit.ly, L-Y, that's bit.ly, /April, APRILLE, BBS. That's B is in business, B is in breakthrough, S is in session. So April BBS. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank you again, Jeff. I want to thank you for allowing me to share this with the people who listen to you so devotedly, because I know that you're definitely one of the experts that they go to. And I just appreciate you sharing a little bit of your airtime with me and trusting me to take over the whole show today.
Well, I am glad that you came, and I'm glad that you shared all this great information with our listeners. And I think that you gave us all of the links and places to go to get more information and to get connected with you. So I would just say thank you so much for being on, and I can't wait to see what amazing things you do next in your business.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I got my eyes on you too. I know what you're up to. It's exciting.
We got big things going on.
Yeah.
Great stuff from April Trupiano. Go over and check out all of her great stuff at apriltrupiano.com. And also her social media links are all below the show. So go and check all that great stuff out. And if you are also ready to get really serious about quitting your job and starting a business, go over to howtoquitworking.com/kickstart. Get more information and join the How to Quit Working Kickstart program. It is under $100. I wanted to keep the price low so that price is not a barrier to entry for folks, because I know sometimes you just need to sort of experiment at a low price point, and the Kickstart program lets you do that. Again, howtoquitworking.com/kickstart. I look forward to seeing you in Kickstart, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the How to Quit Working Show.
Thanks for joining us on the How to Quit Working Show. Tune in next time when we'll talk to another amazing person just like you, who is now living the ultimate life of freedom and doing it on their terms. If you want to learn how to quit working and get these episodes delivered directly to you, visit howtoquitworkingshow.com.